Yes.
All right, I started streaming. Just if
Okay.
y'all could validate.
I'm waiting to see if it comes up.
No, validate now. Oh my god, that stupid baby monitor. It's triggering the timbers.
Check, check, check.
Audio levels.
Ah, there we go.
I heard that. Truly, I heard that.
The best kind of ASMR.
Well, I see us. I don't see Tom. Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Check, check, check. Check, 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 check.
Okay.
Why do we keep doing checks? I think we're fine.
I don't know. Every time we try, it's always like, and there's the echo.
I heard
doom.
sound, so
Okay.
we should be good. Good to go. Oops.
Yeah. And I'm not feedbacking the show through itself, so that's good.
Well, that's something.
All right, well.
Tom, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Hold on, I'm getting messaged.
Danny?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, check,
Maybe
check,
it's
check.
me.
I can hear
Now
you
all
just
of a
fine.
sudden I can't hear any of you.
Did you mute your on YouTube?
Hold on.
Now click preferences.
Alright, try now.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing, testing.
The test begins. No.
Okay, well I can hear Tom.
Can you hear me? I am a talking.
I think it's my earbuds.
Oh, Adam, can you hear me?
Would you like to build a snowman?
Gotta say, it sounds really familiar.
Yeah, you guys are breaking up to me anyway.
Huh.
How's the stream on your end, Danny?
I'm not checking.
Well, there you go.
I'll do it in a second. I'm just trying to use what little time I have to hobby to try and get stuff ready for Hammer.
Same.
You know, basin.
But you're
Basin
really
models. Who, me?
to me anyway.
Oh, God. Alright, hold on. Let me get YouTube up
Tom?
on my phone.
Yes?
Yeah, you guys are cutting out. I think it's my earbuds.
I mean, I'm not hearing any issues with either of you.
Do you hear that?
Do you hear issues when I'm talking right now, or just on YouTube?
It's like choppy.
On YouTube it is?
But I think it might be my earbuds.
But if you're hearing me normal here, then it's not your earbuds. If it was your earbuds...
No, you're chop. Hold on 1 second.
I gotta go help put kids back to sleep, so I'll be right back. Just start without me.
All right. All right, try now, Tom.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Or just to speak.
I am speaking in order to establish.
Yeah, you're cutting out. On my earbuds.
On your earbuds, so regardless of if you're hearing me talk live versus YouTube.
Huh?
I'm cutting out regardless of me being on YouTube
But
or
I don't
talking.
have YouTube up.
Oh, there you go.
All I have is the let's see, hold on.
No, I don't want that.
Microphone should be fine. It was fine up until like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, that's weird.
I mean, I guess I could switch headphones.
Do you want to do that real quick?
So you sound better now.
Okay.
So, I don't know what's going on. I'm old.
So high.
I'm old and technology scary.
It's okay, Grandpa. Let's get you back to your room.
All right. Well, we can start. We can start. Danny will join us when he joins us. So.
All right. Well, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of TFG Radio, 40K from the judge's perspective. I am your host, Adam. Tonight, who do we have? Tonight we have Danny, although he's not here yet. He had to step away. And tonight on the Wheels of Steel is Tom.
Hello.
Filling in for John, because John is out gallivanting around France.
Mm-hmm.
So, or he's still gone. So.
Yes.
I think he comes back in a couple days.
I think the real question is,
so we'll see.
Am I filling in for John, or when John runs it, is he now filling in for me?
I still haven't gone back to listen to check the episodes, but it's probably neck and neck at this point.
Neck and neck.
It seems like you guys are trading off. Although there was a run where John wasn't around for like a month or two.
Yeah, I mean, considering we only just crossed the halfway threshold of the year, I mean, I'd wager I'm doing pretty damn hot.
All right, well, now I'm going to have to check. So.
Narrator, he would in fact not do that.
No, I'm not. But it's been an exciting couple of weeks. We did get the GW. I don't know if I'd call it an FAQ. I don't know what you'd call it, Tom. But it was a document.
Proclamation.
Certainly a document from Games Workshop that was more of an errata, I guess, for the index cards. For a further errata.
Mm-hmm.
And clarification. Is that how you describe it, Tom?
I would describe it as they really need to hire better editors.
It's index cards version 1.2.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, I mean, in all honesty, a lot of the questions, especially ones that I got for LSO,
mm-hmm.
were in relation to what the index cards say and do, especially things like the meta pack for the Death Core.
Yeah.
You know, things of that nature. Cleared up a few things, changed a few things, such as Wraithguard not having a pistol anymore.
Or my favorite one. My favorite one was a captain in aggressor armor who could not lead any unit because he didn't have the leader profile.
Right, or the orc, or I think it was orc war boss on bike couldn't. He didn't have lone operative, but he also technically couldn't attach to any war bike units. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Or
so they had to fix stuff like that.
My other favorite errata was land speeders being allowed to exist. That was part of that, right? It was, oh, sorry, land speeders are not allowed to exist. Our bad. I know it's something. It's something different. I'm being cheeky.
I don't know why they did this like, and that's the other thing that happened is they did Legends Part 2 apparently.
Electric Boogaloo.
So I don't understand why someone would do that. If you're gonna, it's better just to rip the Band-Aid all at once, so you know from the get-go.
Yeah,
But then aren't there cards?
Yeah, I mean their cards came out with the whole range, like the whole index range. Thinking about it now, though, I have a theory that they
Oh,
looked at the land speeders and had all of these things where when they were editing it, they were like, man, actually, there's a lot of things that we're not really sure about. Because land speeders aren't bad. They actually give some pretty decent stuff. They're relatively cheap. And,
yeah.
I mean, they have a small profile. You could easily like the regular land speeder basically lets you override the penalties applied to indirect fire. Like it's pretty
Okay.
nice. Yeah, like it's like, oh, I deep strike in, I see you, and any indirect fire that comes at you gets +1 to hit and ignores cover, basically removing the indirect fire
Right.
penalty. So
Of course.
it's kind of like, oh, I'm of the theory that they looked at that and they're like, well, rather than change the rule, these are old anyway, and we got a lot of backlog requests, and we really don't want to make them anymore, so
Backlog requests.
let's legend the shit out of them, and then we'll
Um,
print it for the 5 people who actually still want made to orders. And that's my
yeah. The
theory.
I don't think I think what it is because the new book's gonna come out soon TM.
Yeah.
I think it's part of that. I think initially they're like, well, let's just let them play with their stuff,
Hmm.
except for the Forge World stuff. And now with the new codex coming out, I think they're getting ready for it. And part of that is getting rid of units that are not going to be in the new codex.
Right. Which is also interesting in that the whole Battle for Agram thing happened. So we know there are actually other new Space Marine units that we haven't seen yet. There's
Yes, there's a
there's
lot of rumors about
yeah, I don't know. I actually haven't heard any of the rumors as to what they could be. Like seriously haven't. But I do know that like they were like, all right, well we got a bunch of Space Marines to show off, or a bunch of Tyranids. Tyranids won, and
yeah
then we got all those reveals, which were kind of like, whoa, this is a bunch of stuff.
right yeah yeah.
We'll save comments for that on the Norn Sass Queen when he returns from his Norn Sass Queen activities. But
Well, he talked about that at last episode.
oh, did we? Did we already
You
cover
weren't
that?
here. You weren't here for that. You weren't here for that.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was an See, I'm on here so much now that I just think that this is part of the regular schedule. It's actually
Oh my god.
more weird when I miss now than it is when I don't. It could also just be I have some kind of mental problem where if you're not in my field of vision, you just don't exist.
right.
I'm around my children so much that I've absorbed their lack of object permanence.
Yeah, I'm looking at what else was legend, and it's a bit.
It's a
It's
bit.
quite a bit.
It's quite a bit. So,
So I'm assuming, and luckily, Chaos doesn't have to worry about any of that because all their Forge World stuff is already legend. So
yeah. I already
they're
knew
not gonna.
pain. I already knew legends. I was molded by it. We had legends before we
Um,
even had legends.
yeah. So the not even I wouldn't even call it FAQ. The Errata 1.2 is like I said is interesting. There's well, maybe your index cards will be cheaper, Tom, when the new book comes out.
I mean,
Watch it be like double in size.
yeah, double it. That's actually part of the reason I haven't picked up any yet, is because I missed the initial wave, and then I was like, oh, well, Space Marines are around the corner. I can just wait.
Yeah.
I don't need them.
Yeah, there's a lot of rules still not answered, and there's a lot of like it's a lot. It's a lot of errata. I mean, legit errata, but still.
Jesus, that's a
Yeah.
lot of errata.
Yeah. All the rhinos getting the firing deck two, all that other. It's like it seems like simple copy and paste stuff for a lot of things, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of stuff, so who knows? But
Yeah, I'm hoping in future editions they'll actually state who was fired as a result of this errata being published. That would mean at least give
that'd
the
be
masses
hilarious.
blood.
It'd be a nice like game, almost like the rumor mill. You just show a picture of someone's hand or shirt collar, and try to guess who it is.
Guess which one of our employees we let go?
or quit, since that seems to be more the norm.
Ooh.
And then start a YouTube channel.
Ayo.
I mean, they do.
I know.
Not lying. So that was that was the big FAQ everyone was waiting for after Tacoma. Although it wasn't really. It was just, like I said, it's more of an errata. Kind of disappointed in it, but I'm disappointed in the fact that it didn't answer actual questions like an FAQ. It was really just an errata.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens going forward, because the next GW event is not till next month, maybe, or October. I can't remember now.
Yeah, it could be one of those things where I wouldn't be surprised if, rather than address the issue now, they're going to test things where, like, oh, by the way, you're at this GW event. This is how we're going to run with this. And
no, they don't do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then, if they don't do that, then it could be just, we don't want to spend time fixing it. We'll just make sure it's still a problem as codexes come out, and if it is, then we'll address it then.
That's that's what they do. They don't change any rules, before the event, and then they do their meta watch, go over their data from their events, and then decide which direction to go.
Yeah.
With the game. The next one is Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
And that's in October. That's the week before SoCal Open.
Interesting.
So, and then after that is the World Championships in Atlanta, in hot Atlanta.
Hot Atlanta.
So moving on.
Moving on.
We did have ATC this past weekend. Congrats to Otter War, because this is the second year in a row I believe they won it.
Well done.
There were a few rules decisions that they made that seem to go at odds with what most of the other tournaments use, but that's not that big of a deal. As long as you know it going in, you can adjust for it as a team and as a player. I just thought it was funny that they put out a video that was 45 minutes long that had the title of "How did Art of War win ATC?" And my response was, that video should have only been 2 minutes, and it really is just get all the best players in the U.S. and have them play on a team. That's how you do it. Done.
That's how you answer that question.
Give me the clicks. But that's my opinion.
I mean,
what do I know?
At the end of the day, that would have been just mad balls too. Just like, America, get the best stamp Art of War logo.
That would have been hilarious. I certainly would have generated as probably more clicks than what they actually put. But
oh yeah, if it's anything we celebrate these days, it's just sheer, almost earned audacity.
Yeah. So. No, it didn't seem to be any issues at ATC that I could tell if you watched on War Games Live. He is, and War Games Live is on his way to Belgium right now to stream the WTC. So we'll see how that goes. That should be interesting. More importantly, we'll see how his equipment survives, if his equipment survives the trip.
Yeah, that's something I've always thought about, because I've never had to fly anywhere for 40K, and I'm always thinking, like, man, what would I do?
Yeah, I flew for Nova to play, and I flew to Nova, and I flew I didn't fly to play, but I flew coming back with miniatures in my luggage, and if you can help it, don't check the bags in.
Oh yeah, carry on all day.
It's always carry on, and plenty of bag manufacturers make bags that specifically fit the carry on dimensions. So everyone plays custodes. Don't play GSC
or knights.
Knights maybe if they're magnetized and you can basically take them apart. that knights could work. I took knights. I took a knight to Nova, and it got destroyed on the way back because I had to check the bag in, and the knight got destroyed along with a few other models. It was yeah.
Were they beyond repair?
Uh,
Or are they just somewhere
the
you haven't...
models I could have repaired them, but I was like I didn't bother. And then the knight was repairable, which I think I did repair. So not too bad, but still. Um, so yeah, if you are going to travel, don't check your baggage. Don't check your models in.
Oh God, no, never, never.
Jeff. Oh, well, Danny's back. Jeff Robbins used to. Jeff Robbins. Jeff In Control Robinson used to travel with literally his models all thrown inside a box that he would literally carry with him and sit in his lap while he was flying. So,
Hang on.
Yeah, so those were a couple events we had over the weekend. We also had LSO about a week ago in Texas, and that's the military appreciation event, basically for Frontline Gaming. I was unable to attend, but I was in contact with the judges that were there. Ben Jerk ended up winning the event and winning his golden ticket, which is weird because I had thought he had already won an event or had already gotten one, but when I look back, he always came in like second or third. So I was like, okay. And he won obviously with Eldar. So,
well, no longer just a bridesmaid. Look at that, going to the big show.
Well, I mean, he won SoCal Open last year, but there wasn't a golden ticket or anything like that. So, and he won with orcs last year, which is why the logo isn't orc this year.
So what I'm excited for is when all the golden ticket winners are announced and GW announces its collab with the studio making Wonka, and the winners get to go get dinner with Timothée Chalamet. That should be interesting, right? That's what's happening?
I don't know. Why not with Johnny Depp? Or both?
I mean,
if you can choose.
Power to Johnny Depp. He did a good job in that role, but I did not like that movie.
Yeah, but Charlotte's character is based off the Johnny Depp portrayal.
Again,
from what I've seen from the trailers.
I just think it's funny that in the movie entitled Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it is the character not named Charlie that gets the spin-offs.
Well, I mean...
yeah, actually.
Charlie wasn't worth a spin-off. Listen, I mean... Come on.
I mean, you could have done like a gritty sequel where it's like Charlie Bucket 20 years later and he's got to rediscover the magic of his childhood. Which they did with Pooh Bear, and it frickin' worked. Ewan McGregor as Christopher Robin as an older man, that brought me to tears. Just saying.
Oh, I forgot that was a thing. I don't know. He's not... He doesn't have the whimsy of Willy Wonka. So, no.
Well, let's just be real. Neither Johnny Depp nor Timothée Chalamet, or however you say his name, is going to equal Gene Wilder. So... True. I think that's what really people should have just accepted. It was never going to work because Gene Wilder not there for it. So move on.
Well, yeah. Plus, but I mean, even the author didn't like Gene Wilder's. Didn't like that movie, that version of. But I don't think he would have liked any version.
I mean, I love Roald Dahl as an author, but there's a reason why I read his books and not watch his movies. Because he hasn't made any.
No, well, I like Matilda, the original.
I love the original Matilda, but he didn't make that movie.
I know. He didn't make any, did he?
That's my point.
Anyway, so LSO, I'm sure, because it's Texas, everything ran smoothly, no issues, everyone on great behavior.
No issues. We did have an issue with a player that it was later discovered. It was discovered after the event, but at the event, if that makes sense, that they were playing rules wrong for basically the whole tournament. It has been taken care of. Frontline does not publish any actions that we take in regards to situations like these. So, but it's not hard to figure out, in all honesty. But just know actions were taken, and the player will be closely watched if he attends any other FLG events. So.
Yeah, you say that like
really
he's not dead. We know he's dead. We know that Frontline just gives you full discretion of the night to do what must be done.
No.
Oh, if only. Well,
don't start that, Rick.
Yeah.
Speaking of Frontline events, the SoCal Open tickets just went on sale today, the day of as of this recording, which is Thursday. I don't have it right now, but if you watch it on YouTube or listen to it on the podcast, the link to purchase the tickets will be in the description. So be sure to click it. Make sure it is part of our affiliate link. So helps us a little bit. We get a little kickback, but more importantly, you get to go to SoCal Open, where I will be there. Danny is a solid probably.
Yeah, a good healthy maybe with a side of likely, but no promises in combat.
God damn it,
right.
Danny. I need people are pestering me. I need a concrete certainty. I need certainty.
Well, the one thing I can never provide. I'm sorry.
Tom, are you going this year? You went last year.
I've gone almost every single year. The only reason I wouldn't go this year is if I had
a kid.
No, is
it's only been a year.
I know, I ain't that Irish. No, the only reason I wouldn't go is if I decided instead to commit to going to LVO, because I don't think I'd be able to do both.
You can't do both.
I don't think so. I don't think it's realistic.
Tisk.
Well, I'm not going to answer any more of your questions, man. Sheesh.
All right, we'll see. I don't know. John's not here, and I don't know if John's going. Who else in our group? I think Jeff is going. If everyone who remembers who Jeff is. A few of our team are going because we have a few San Diego locals, so they usually go every year. But I will be there judging again. Hopefully Danny will be there judging. Otherwise, we'll probably have Keith, who has judged there in the past. So most players are familiar with Keith. He also has done BAO. He does LVO.
Yeah, I mean, SoCal's a good time.
Huh?
I said SoCal's a good time if people have never been. If you're anywhere near local San Diego, it's a really good time. The venue doesn't always have to be 100% real, because I know some people can't be, but to be 100% real, the venue isn't the best when it comes to food and things like that. But Del Mar is really nice. If you've never been in October to San Diego, it's basically what people think of when they're like, "Oh, California weather is perfect." It's like, okay, well, go to Del Mar, in October and experience what people pay a lot of money to live in. It's wonderful.
Literally right off the beach.
Yeah. And it's a really good time. It has a very laid back vibe. So it's just really good time. So I really, if you've never gone and you're anywhere near where you can make the trip to San Diego, it's worth it. It's not far if you do the family thing for like the Wild Animal Park and SeaWorld. So there's like other stuff to do. And yeah, it's just a good time. So I enjoy every time I go as both a player and a judge. So yeah, I think it's a worthy endeavor to do.
And me too.
Yeah, and maybe you'll see SoCal Danny.
Not if I'm judging. Not if I'm judging. That's afterwards. But you only get to see SoCal Danny if I'm playing. Not if I'm judging.
Okay.
When I'm playing, totally different.
That's what I mean. Either way, I didn't say when you're going to see SoCal Danny.
That's true.
Look,
well, I mean, you could always catch me afterwards. Then, yeah.
The
that
prophecy states that on a biennial basis is when the shadow of the power that is SoCal Danny
Biannual.
waxes.
It's more like annual at this point. It is
It's-
annual so far.
It's you're geez, yeah. This happened
Yeah,
one
just
time.
go back to
Am I
listen to
wrong?
our. Go back and listen to our previous episode, any episodes that's like, recorded in early November, and be like, oh, this is their SoCal episode, and yeah, I'm pretty sure every time it's going to be like, and here's Danny's escapades at some point.
Well, it's only the last. Well, since post COVID.
Post-COVID.
Post-COVID, it's been annual.
Yeah. I have no problems with
Pre-COVID,
this.
I can't remember that far back. That's the before time.
I mean, it
That's
happened.
the time of myth
too.
and legend.
Yeah, right.
Huh?
I said it still happened.
Oh, I can't remember. But yeah, get your tickets. It doesn't even have to be for 40K. Just grab your tickets. I'm sure there's
We've
other
got a lot of events.
more inferior game systems being played.
They've got AOS. They've got
Like I said,
Marvel Crisis Protocol. I think they have a Song of Fire and Ice.
they have Legion.
They have Legion. So I don't think they have any Shatterpoint, which, man, really had a lot of thunder in the beginning, and now it's I don't hear a lot about it, even though they've releasing new character packs and stuff.
It's as though 1,000
Supposedly
nerds have
there's a-
suddenly cried out and then silenced.
Yeah.
So there's supposedly a group that comes every, I think, Friday to play Shatterpoint at the store.
Okay.
The local
Cool.
store. So, but it's still, it's still young, quote unquote young. So
Yeah.
it's not like, I don't know. It's not like 40K where here's Kill Team, then a billion people play it all of a sudden.
True.
So we'll see. I think it doesn't have that same saturation. And plus it's almost the same scale as Legion.
Well, and the other thing about
So
I was gonna say the other thing about Kill Team 2 is with that you're capturing people who love 40K, but the whole army thing is just too much. It's just
Right.
like I want to play, but it's like that's the beauty of stuff like Kill Point or Kill Team, and then Necromunda is like if you really lean into that.
Well, yeah, Necromunda is a whole different beast. We actually
Necromunda is like I read the novels and or really just love the lore and world of this game, but actually don't really like the main game. So you get to be all the crazy characters out of
Oh, I
out of
played
the
it back. I
various
played it back
novels.
during second edition 40K, and but now it's just way too much. There's a lot going on in that game. Same with Blood Bowl. Like I used to play Blood Bowl like all the time, and I don't play anymore because it's just too much to.
Yeah.
I think I'm too far removed at this point with the new edition of Blood Bowl to like. I mean, I guess I could jump in, but we'll see. But I have no. I don't know. I don't feel compelled to play Blood Bowl like I used to. I don't know what it is.
Well, I think it's
But-
also because your compulsions and hobbies now pollinate into other fields and interests.
Yeah. And then so that was LSO. Again, like I said, Ben Jerk came in first.
Right.
Other than the one player, all in all, it seems to have been a good time for everybody. So we'll see. I will be there next year for those that may be wondering. And we'll see who else is there next year. So.
Depending
But
what
I will be there for
date
sure
it is.
because I've. Huh?
I said, depending what date it is, I might actually either try to go to judge or play, because it'd be fun. And I have, kinfolk in Dallas I'd like to go see and things like that.
I forget you're from Texas.
So, that might be something worth doing. Huh?
I didn't say anything.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, and the other Texans will also point this out, I'm from El Paso, which is kind of like not being from Texas.
Oh.
That's like being from New Mexico. So, yeah, it's the same part of Texas.
Yeah, so I'll be there next year. So that means I'll be at 7 out of the 8 frontline events. I'm afraid to ask Kicker if I need to be at Rocky Mountain Open, but we'll see. Um, I'm hoping LSO's on a different weekend because it was the same weekend as Historicon. And for those that don't know, which is probably anybody that listens to this show, Historicon is like it's like LVO but for historical miniatures. So they do allow like sci-fi non-historical games there, but it's mainly for historical players. And it's not tournament. There's tournaments, but there's also it's a lot of demo games and people demoing a lot of demo games, a lot of participation games. It's more of a con like Adepticon, or even Nova than it is like LVO, which currently focuses more on the tournament scene for each game system. So I hope to one day go. I've already been to the big three for 40K, so I hope to go to Historicon one of these years. So, but if it keeps on falling on the same weekend as LSO, then I'll probably never get to go. So we'll see. Fingers crossed, because then I can make like maybe a double trip. Go to one and then just fly to the next one within like a week or whatever. So
There and then
we'll see.
there else and then back again. A Judge's Tale
Yeah.
by Adam Baggins.
Yes, there you go. With me and my furry feet. So looking forward to that. And like I said, SoCal Open is next month, or in 2 months. No team tournament this year, for those that are wondering. Unfortunately, Kicker's wife is expecting. In case anybody knows. So instead of doing the tournament, he'd rather be there supporting his wife. I don't understand it. So
Saw it coming. Funny anyway.
Yep.
I mean, but so hopefully next year we'll either have the team tournament back or have some other event that I will have to go to, so I can make it a clean sweep for the year. So other than that, it's SoCal Open, and again, player, even though tickets are sale, the player packet is not ready yet. So even though I don't think there's nothing to click on right now, so don't even bother looking for one because it's not up yet. So we'll have the player packet hopefully within the next few weeks. It's going to be similar to LSO in format because it is only 2 days. We tried the 3-day one year, but it just kind of didn't work out because the place was kind of empty except for 2 players, and it just didn't feel worth it. So worth having that 3rd day, so people can take their time coming in on a Friday. Like I'm probably coming in right after work on Friday, as opposed to taking a day off from work, like we normally would do if they had something going on.
See, I might
Friday,
do that.
so.
I might take a day off work anyway, just that way I can, give my wife like half a
Get
day.
away from work.
Well, yeah, not have to take a 3-day weekend technically. Give my wife some
Right.
time away from the kids in the morning. That way, when she takes over and I leave, it's been a nice little thing I can do for her,
Right.
and then head over so I get there like just before dinner, so that way I can settle in and then like find some cool place to grab a bite to eat, because I like trying the food down there. That's like one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, there's plenty of places to eat in San Diego. Yeah, I think we've gone. I remember driving around, going out to eat and things like that. The years we've been there, so it's San Diego's a lot of fun. So if you can, I would probably go a day or 2 early and check out the beach, check out the. Can't remember. Is it Gaslamp? Downtown?
I forget.
Gaslamp. It's not Gaslight. Gaslight's a
No.
movie and
Yeah.
something people do to other people.
Yeah, I think it's the Gaslamp District.
It's Gaslamp. Gaslamp's a nice place
Yeah.
with a lot of bars and restaurants. So
Yeah, and if you're in SoCal, I believe the different Southern California tournaments, leagues, different SoCal leagues are, I think on Friday before SoCal, hosting like a barbecue slash tournament where representatives from each of the like major SoCal leagues are going, will play each other, but or this is all organized by Coop, so it's meant to be kind of like a fun, time.
That's not affiliated with the event.
Yes, but I'm just saying, if you are thinking of going and you are SoCal local, maybe you should talk to your league organizer if you're in one about like maybe that's something you can do as a reason to get there early.
That sounds like the 40K modern day equivalent of like, I'm going to attend the joust.
A little bit, yeah. But yeah, SoCal fun. I'm hoping to go. I just gotta finalize everything for it since I try to get there early, like to help set up and things like that. But it will depend on kids and stuff like that. If I got someone to pick up my son from school, basically, which is the issue.
Well, I just go right after work usually. So. Also, that went up for sale are the room blocks for LVO. Still at the Rio. Apparently, they are currently renovating a lot of the rooms. So a lot of rooms have already been renovated. So there are 2 levels of rooms, and I don't know. I guess you can ask. I think part of the room block includes some of the new rooms. So if you want, you think you pay a little extra to get the better room. So
they're broken out into rooms with bathrooms, rooms without bathrooms.
I'm just gonna say new and old. I'll use those descriptions. So make sure you get your room blocks early, mainly because those rooms that have been renovated are probably few and far between. If you want to go and you want to get a room from the room block, so be sure to do that. We'll also put a link to that in the descriptions and the show notes if you're listening to this on the podcast. Try to get them as quickly as possible. They don't normally sell out fairly quickly. However, because there's a certain amount of, like I said, the newer rooms, then and if you want one of those rooms, then you may want to get on that fairly quickly. So.
Yeah. I don't know what he said.
Aye.
And of course, I'll be there. Danny will be at LVO.
Yep. Maybe
Tom is maybe.
I think I'm gonna take the opposite. I'm gonna take the opposite tact this year and just be like, probably won't, and then I'll make it because I think I won't make it. Because every year I think I make it, I don't make it. So I'm just gonna try that this time.
Okay, we'll see how that goes. And John should be there.
I think that depends
until
on
John comes back from his whirlwind reenactment tour of France. We don't know. We don't have a confirmation. I'm trying to get everybody locked down to see what's going to happen.
I mean, when they announced Napoleon Bonaparte, you saw the glaze in his eyes, and he started going to Kayak and Booking.com, and we're like, John, what is with the stern glares and the French accent?
He has to get in character.
I mean, yeah.
I've heard he's in the movie, but not confirmed. He has missed a lot of Tuesdays, so who knows why.
Yeah. Maybe he's still under NDA with Ridley Scott. You never know.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, out of all of us, he has the most professional acting experience. He's been on
That's
TV.
True. Yeah.
He's also been on game shows.
And also true to fact, like most people, when they suddenly get fame and money, they abandon everyone in their previous life. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See?
Wow.
I mean, my logic is flawless here.
I mean, it really is.
I can't tell if you're saying
Danny doesn't just say that about anything I say either. I mean,
I'm just saying,
I can't tell
maybe
if
it's going to
you,
Hollywood, John.
I can't tell if you mean abandoning by abandoning us, or that he's already had one family he's abandoned and he's with the second one.
Well, that comes later, I think.
Yeah. I'll wait for TMZ
well, he didn't
on that.
He didn't win the lotto, so.
Yeah. I know, maybe he did. That's why he's in Europe. Yeah.
In this economy?
Yeah, right.
So, other news. So moving on to other better news that only I care about.
Mm-hmm.
We got more info about the basically Epic Heresy. Um, it very much looks like old second edition Epic in terms of the detachment rules, with a dash of the later editions thrown in regards to what units to put in. In second edition, you used to use little cards like how they're showing in the previews, and it would tell you, "Oh, you're taking a company of Space Marines," and Space Marines are all tactical squads, but you can add a little bit here and there. And it seems like it's kind of the same thing, where it's telling you you're going to take this, your HQ, your core, and then you can add these little dashes of stuff, or these other detachments into it. So, and then by the play style of issuing orders, alternating activation, that's all from second edition. And I believe the original two had the alternating activation, but the hidden orders and the types of orders, that's all from second edition. So, what's old is new again.
Yeah, I mean,
Yay, verily.
So it has me excited.
I really loved Epic, but that's also because I could play my Tyranids, and so
Yeah.
I don't know about this one. I'll have to figure out a way how to.
You're playing World Eaters.
No, I'm not getting a new army. I will use my Tyranids as World Eaters. How about that? They'll just use World Eater rules.
I accept.
I don't care. It's not like we're playing in a tournament or anything.
Yeah, so there we go. I'll build and paint my little Epic army, and
Looks like Epic's back on the menu, boys.
Yeah, I already talked to my brother, who's also excited about it, but because he has Astra Militarum, so he's just going to take the Solar Auxilia half, and I'll grab the Marine half. And I don't know, we may get 2 starter boxes. I don't know. It comes with a lot of stuff. It's just like the original Titanicus came out when it with that Grandmaster $300 box.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
But what I really like, I don't know why, I really like the terrain. That's the road system for like the city.
Oh yeah.
Because that's useful for like almost any game system. So, whether it's historical, other types of sci-fi, or even like if you're playing Kill Team.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
And it's a stretch for Kill Team, but you could. What's weird is that the table that they want you to play on is, I think, 3x5 or 4x5.
It's a weird measurement.
Everything smaller.
Seems big.
It just seems like a
no.
weird
Old
measurement.
Epic was essentially 4x6 or 4x8 actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, that's why they said the average size is 3,000 points for
Okay.
Epic. And that's what I mean. But they mentioned the table size, and it was just weird that it was 4x5 something whatever by 5 instead of being 6 feet. So I just thought that was odd. But they've been doing this with like all their games so far.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising.
And we're gonna change the board.
Basically. It's like, all right, whatever, guys. I mean, I'll probably still play on 4x6. It's not that big of a deal.
You're a rebel, and you'll never ever be anything else.
Although I can't find Space Marine flyers right now. There's plenty of Imperial Guard flyers out there from Aeronauticus, but all the Space Marine ones are gone.
Gee, I wonder what.
I mean, they're just gonna repackage and re-release them, so I'll just wait for that.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. They have these little specialist games like Titanicus, and then what else? Aeronautica. So it makes sense that they would eventually do Epic, right? Because it's like, well, we have this scale, and we've got a variety of models, and it's not shocking. It's just I really wish it wasn't just Horus Heresy.
Yeah, if they made Epic 40K, I would definitely be like, now you have my attention.
You're gonna play Tom because Custodes will probably be a thing.
Well, I mean, dude, Alpha Legion.
Oh, there's that too, yeah. Because they did mention other armies, and that's basically Custodes, Mechanicus, Demons.
Dark Mechanicus.
Hell, I could see
other-
myself playing Mechanicus Epic. That might be a hell of a lot of fun.
I mean, the squats were around.
True, there's them.
That'd be hilarious.
Not in there, see?
No, they're somewhere.
Yeah.
They're dead, on the brink of extinction.
Bring the land train
Yeah.
back, that's all I'm saying.
I wish. They did in Necromunda.
Right.
We have. Is that the land train we have? Mom says we have at home.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically.
very much so.
Or-
Yes.
Or you can hook up the 3 Votan ones and
That'd actually be really funny. Jesus.
I mean, when I was painting them, I did put them, butt to mouth, and I was just kind of like, chugga 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 choo choo.
yeah, Hearthkin Caterpillar.
Yeah. I'm sure that's exactly what you were doing, Tom, but we'll just let that be.
I'm a simple man
Uh-huh.
with stupid jokes.
Yeah, okay.
So that's epic. I'm actually looking forward to it. My only concern is when it's coming out, because
Yeah, it got delayed. It was supposed to be August.
oh, is that what they said?
Yeah, they said
Yep.
they're supposed to be the end of August, and it'll be a little later in the year now.
Oh, that works for me.
Yeah, right. Save that money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to save money for the new Tyranid releases.
Oh
That
Yeah,
Norn,
that's
though.
gonna exactly them Norns, baby, and new sexy Death Leaper.
yeah. Right.
Curse you, sexy Death Leaper. It's like there's nothing. Like I'm wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Like nothing at all. Oh my god.
I think a more appropriate name for him is Pimp Leaper. I think you should put a little pimp hat on him because with the cape and the everything, maybe some boots,
A little cane.
a little cane. Yeah, a biotendral cane.
Yep. There you go.
Yo,
I mean, I'm into it.
yeah. Yo, Trevor Gaunt, baby girl, what you doing?
Wow.
Nah, if that's the case, then I'd have to play some ODB or something every time I deployed him.
Oh my god. For his entrance music.
Yep. I mean, if you're gonna go for it, go all out, right?
Yeah.
So what else?
What else? We can talk about the Horus Heresy winding down. If you're watching on YouTube, you see the artwork.
For just 8 more books.
10 more books
Jesus.
describing each hour on the
Right.
Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah. Every 30 seconds. It's actually written to where every page is actually a second on action, right, in real time.
Yeah,
It's a
strangely,
very avant-garde move.
and no one complained.
Each book expands on that scene where the Custos that came in with the Emperor were in slow motion.
Dude, okay, for real
That's
though,
that's 3 books.
my heart during that scene. So Danny, during that scene with the Custodes and the Emperor, and then all of a sudden the
yeah.
Custodes start freaking out.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
My heart, my soul, I couldn't. I was
Oh, I
like,
thought it was great.
I mean, it was fantastic, and it had me on the edge of my seat. It was actually one of the few times I've ever really truly experienced horror in 40K. I know they have a horror line. I've never read any of those books. I would like to one day, but just the sheer all of a sudden you feel the pit of your stomach drop as you understand what's happening, and then just hearing Sarah McLachlan in the background as you can hear as the Emperor just
arms of an angel.
just as his boys. Look what they did to his boys.
I mean, hold on. Spoilers. Spoiler alert if you haven't read The End of the Death. Spoiler alert.
Just stop listening now.
It's not so much, oh, look what they did to my boys. It's where that moment you see, oh, the Emperor don't give no fuck. He's like, oh, this is happening? Time to murder you all.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, though, remember they just
Time to old yeller them.
well,
Yeah.
he did that, but he wasn't cold about it. It was like it showed him internally, and he was like, okay, now I'm mad.
Well, yeah, because it's a waste of good property.
But
It's a waste of product.
that's pretty empathetic as far as the Emperor is concerned.
I mean, that's true.
It's
is
about as
picky.
much as you're gonna get.
Yeah. Anyway.
So 2 more books. We talked about the scouring a little bit in our chat, and
Yeah.
I think that's the next series. It's like the natural progression.
It'll be their post Horus Heresy novel set.
Yeah, now go another like 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you've got so much that happens during the scouring. There's the scouring itself, the whole aftermath of what the hell happened at Caliban, and a bunch of Dark Angels just saying nothing. Oh, by the way, Caliban's gone, and also Lion's gone, and also here's our fortress monastery. That's a rock, but everything's fine. How are you?
You also have the creation of the Codex Astartes. And
That's exactly right.
The almost second Civil War.
Right.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to listen to that traitor Gilliman.
Traitor Gilliman.
He's a traitor.
Well, actually, that's one thing. I'm terribly behind the Dawn of Fire novels, but I know in the last Gilliman series, one of the big reveals is a remembrancer, because he reinstates that.
Yeah.
A remembrancer finding on, I think, Macragge, an old volume in a forbidden library called Imperium Secundus. And it ends with him being like, what's this book?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is funny because the first major series with Gilliman, ends with him finally being like, you know what? Fine, I'll read the Lectitio Divinitatis. Here's this OG copy my brother hand wrote that this archival person found that I just gave a planet to because they found it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems about right.
No. We'll see. I'm actually looking forward to the end of the Horus Heresy and the beginning of the scouring, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, but even if they didn't begin the scouring, I am excited to finally see the conclusion of it, because it's so long and there's so many books. I've actually really been wanting to go back and reread some, just because I've read them through. If you're used to that kind of style of writing, they're not that hard to blaze through. I'm a naturally fast reader, and I'm just like, man, I just really want to go back and kind of read through it again, see what I missed. And I don't want to do that until I finish the damn series with the next book, and then the book after that, which I'm assuming comes out Christmas 2025.
I'm assuming it's like one a year. So we had one last year. We had End of Death, and then part 1, and then part 2. I'm assuming is either later this year or early next year, I guess.
But here's my problem with that, though, is if this is actually one giant novel, like Dan Abnett has said, why 3 releases, though?
Because he hasn't finished writing it.
Oh.
I think literally it's just like, I am working on this book. I've got the first 800 pages, but I know it's going to be 1,200. So here, start editing these earlier things. Let's get them fit for publication and go.
Right.
That'd be my thought.
That's fine. I mean, he could claim he finished all of it, and we wouldn't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's also the publishing takes time because just the print setting and the editing and the copy editing, that all takes time. So
and there's
a
lot
like
to probably fact check too to make sure that he didn't accidentally retcon something or.
I don't know how much they really care about that, honestly.
No, they do.
They do, because when they go against previous thing, they make a whole thing of it. It's like, oh, we're purposely going against what common understanding is. Ooh.
Yeah.
Versus it's either that or it's lockstep what has always been said.
Yeah, they've said they've had meetings just with all the authors, especially of the Siege of Terra, to make sure everything lined up.
Yeah.
Canonically. So looking forward to that. just says it's out soon, so I don't know. I'm just looking forward to it.
I am too. I'm excited.
Even though we know what happens.
I mean, we knew that, and The End and the Death was still one of the best novels of 40K I've ever read. Not to mention, probably up there with like modern novels that I've read.
No, End of the Death is great. Like, End of the Death is really well paced for as long as it is. Mm-hmm. It's actually got a good amount of variety in like the voices in it and the storytelling, but it still feels, pretty coherent, which is hard to do. The Malkador sections, I think, are just gorgeous. They're just beautiful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, absolutely stunning. So, it's Dan Abnett who, I don't think gets from the wider literary world much respect, but which I don't think is fair. I think he's a pretty strong writer, and he gives his best work, I think, in this series. I think they're just actually really stupendous writing. So I'm hoping people.
I think something that we talked about, Danny, when it came out that you had mentioned, which I saw but I couldn't put a word to it because I don't teach this for a living, like you do, was he did the theming incredibly well. Yeah. There were a lot of interwoven connecting themes about like primitive human beings, what does death mean? I think there were a couple other that were kind of more poignant, but like just these really subtle recurring elements, sometimes not so subtle, but like beautifully done when that was the case.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's I think actually, people like to deride some 40K writing as bolter porn, and there's absolutely some stuff that is. Oh, yeah, I don't think it's I don't think there's actually as much as there used to be. I think they've toned it down a lot in the years. But like there's definitely some really interesting and like, epic battle sequences, but most of the book is introspection, like perspective, and I don't know, like I think it does a really good job of establishing who characters are in a very unique voice for each of them. Like, even if you don't know who's talking, if it's Malkador, if it's the the Admech lady, right? Like,
John Grammaticus.
Yeah, the characters feel distinct. In the actual writing itself, in how they think, and even what they focus on. So that's very hard to do with like a couple of characters, let alone with like 30. Yeah. So I think it's from a actual craft standpoint, I think it's a pretty damn good book. I don't, I'm not necessarily saying it should win a Nebula or something, but like it is absolutely worthy of being discussed as like a very legitimately well-written science fiction novel, right? Not as bolter porn, or not as, for an IP, but like flat out like, no, this is just good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I would recommend it to people if it didn't. The only real knock against it is if that was the only book you'd ever read about Horus Heresy, you'd have no fucking clue what was happening.
Yeah, that's that's its only problem. The only way you could read that book with the most limited amount of 40K knowledge possible, you'd have to read the whole Siege.
Yeah.
That is the closest, and even then there's still so much obviously that you're missing. But you could pick up on it in the first one. I've
read a lot of the Horus Heresy novels, and there was still reading it. I would have to stop and be like, wait, who the fuck is this guy again?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of remember them, but I really don't. And it's like, again, if you're just average, like, oh, this looks interesting, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Who the hell are these people?
This is where you need like IRL Clippy or Alexa, like, did you mean Horus Rising?
Yeah.
Did you mean you want to start with that first? Because you should.
Yeah. Right. It's like, hey, guy, I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but...
Yeah, so looking forward to it. since our last episode, we've played a few games of actual 40K.
Oh yeah.
Danny, you played 2 league games? 1 league game?
Yeah, I finished my league. 2, I think 2. I think so, yeah. I finished the
playing
league.
your bugs, right?
Yep, playing Tyranids, because, new edition, should always going to start with them. Yeah, so I played Eldar again with Wayne, and I won that because this was the first time I used tactical missions, and I had really built my list to basically get deployed teleport homers and behind enemy lines every turn.
Okay.
Thanks to Raveners, Gene Stealers, and really the MVP of that is, what do you call them? Spore Mines from Biovores. That was easy. I got 40 points, and I almost got tabled. I had, at the end of the game, like, I think just my Neuro Tyrant left alive, who got his, bodyguard unit blown away. Because, Eldar, still no Wraith Knight, but 3D cannons, right? Like a bunch of Wraith Guard with the big blasties. It was just...
get to shoot you when you shoot them,
Yeah, like, it was... Luckily, my list didn't have a lot of shooting, so... he didn't get the double tap. But it was... I was basically forcing him onto his side of the table the whole time, and was scoring, I got max secondaries, almost max primaries, denied him a bunch of primary points, so I won, pretty solidly. It wasn't... I like Wayne. It's not like about like, oh, he wasn't a fun player. It was not a fun game because it wasn't like, I'm going to kill stuff and I'm going to do this. It was basically like, okay, well, just hold him there. All right, if I just stand here and be an asshole, I'm going to win. And it's like, oh, look, I won. Yay.
Yeah.
Like, it was just...
There's no passion.
No, because it didn't feel like really playing. It felt like, okay, well, here's what we do. It was just a lot of standing around. Like, no, if I killed something, it was usually kind of meaningless, honestly. I was like, oh, okay, well, I didn't actually need to do that. I just need that unit to not... This enemy unit to not move forward. That's all I needed to do. So, cool. So, it just feels very, not what I want when I play 40K, right? Like, I want to have fun. I want to kill shit. I want my shit to die. I want to laugh, have good times.
Right.
So, and you can't... It's one of those things. People love to be like, I really just tried to be a relaxed opponent and have fun. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But if you want to be like a super competitive player, at a certain point you have to accept, like, no, my games don't need to be fun. They need to win, right? I need to be able to consistently win. And sometimes that means the game is not enjoyable.
Yeah.
So, that was okay. And then I played, Danny J with his Tau. And that was a really fun game. Speaking of, just... again, Danny's a great opponent. Really had fun playing against him. But it was, he was playing Tau. I was playing Tyranids. I was using Tactical instead of Fixed because it's more fun. Playing lots of big bugs. Took out the Scythe Hero duel and the Barbed Hero duel, who I haven't played with since, the days of Crusher Stampede. And it was a really fun game. And I won mostly by, again, putting pressure on him very early, keeping him pinned back in his castle, and just hoping my guys would die slow enough to where I'm scoring the primary and, winning. Which is what happened. So I ended up winning, going 3-2 for the league. So,
nice.
Not too bad. Mostly experimenting.
Okay.
Trying to learn the game.
So how'd you end the season? Or end this heat?
I'm going to be in the middle of the pack if Darian actually finishes all 5 of his games, he'll probably boot me out of going up a pod, but otherwise I'm just going to, stay in pod 4 and, bounce around. But, 3-2 was actually a lot better than I thought I'd do, since I was, every list I was kind of experimenting with something, so I wasn't really, there's plenty of times where I'm like, I don't think this is very good, but I'm going to give it a shot. So, having a positive record with, doing a lot of experimenting and a lot of wacky builds is a pretty good sign for me.
Okay.
So,
nice.
had fun. Although, next heat, I'm definitely bringing something besides Tyranids.
You're going to actually bring the heat?
No, I just want to, test another faction. So I might do Chaos. That way I can bounce between... Actually, I don't know if Jeff has updated the league rules about if I say Chaos, do I have to stay Chaos Space Marines, or do I have to declare Chaos Demons or Chaos Knights?
In the past, it's just been if you
just
mix
chaos,
or
right?
change, you just declare you just say chaos. It depends what you put on your score.
Yeah, so I think I'm just going to do Chaos.
If I put Black Legion, or if you put chaos, then you're not defining it unless he says something. But
yeah, I don't.
Especially if you're mixed, if you have other units in there, like
yes.
let's say like me, I have Chaos Space Marines plus some demons, so I would technically be chaos, not Chaos Space Marine.
Yeah,
Chaos.
I'm gonna go probably Chaos, just so I can try out my World Eaters. I could try out my demons. I could try out Chaos Knights, and again, just do a lot of experimentation, and just to get a feel for the game, the edition. I don't really care about winning too much. But I don't know but I'm playing my World Eaters thanks to the outcome of the poll at Hammer. So I don't know if I'll play them too much because I'm about to get 5 games with them. We'll so see. Like I might just be like, oh, okay, well, I've learned enough. I'm done. They go forward and die terribly.
There you go.
But that's also fun.
You have to take 3 Land Raiders or 3 King of Bears.
No. I can't really afford 3 King of Bears anymore. They jacked up the points for some fucking reason.
Wow.
Stupid towering. Yeah, like, my list is, like... Well, the one thing I'm interested to test with my list is that, what do you say? Most melee threat for Tyranids is the big bugs, but monsters can be shot in combat, right, when they're hanging out in combat. And so with World Eaters, most of my melee threat is infantry, so who can't be shot if they make combat. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see how big of a deal that is, if that even matters, because maybe it doesn't. Because my big bugs, my big bugs didn't kill a lot, but they would honestly usually take a while to die, and that's what would win me games. Is because they're putting forward pressure. I'm taking away the center or objectives or no man's land's objectives, and as long as they didn't die, I was fine, or at least took a lot to die.
When we talk about our game, Tom and I, it's more or less how it worked out with the vehicles. So Tom and I played again. Tom, you had the same list, right? You didn't change your list up?
The change was I dropped the Vindicare and I took an Eliminator squad, which I didn't even remember until like 2 turns in.
Turn
without
2 or something.
Yeah, even without using a Vindicare model. It's not like I accidentally let me just switch these around. I just didn't have my last piece on the board.
Even then, I think the first turn they weren't in range of anything.
Oh no, it wouldn't have mattered. But ultimately, what I've found is I need to, first off, remember to kill the thing on the objective that gives sticky. That's kind of important.
Usually a good idea.
And then the other thing for me that I need to try and do differently in my games is I can't have a list that is tempted to stay in my home base. I have to push out and have a reason to do so and have enough backing to do so. So I've made some tweaks that I think I like, and it basically now is I've got a good shooting core, which I think I need, but now I have like just a solid party bus of infantry melee fun goodness that just runs up the board and is hard to kill and you have to deal with. And it'll help me hold center if I get those objectives. It'll help me get engaged if I get those objectives. Because I could do fixed, but I think that tactical is the way to go. Because it offers you more.
I think tactical gives you more points.
I think it almost always does. Unless you just really build around that fixed, there's always the chance you run into somebody who completely shuts you down. Whereas with tactical, okay, at the end of my turn, this stinks. I can just discard this.
Right.
I think with fixed, only certain armies can do it.
Yeah.
Right, like Eldar can do it really well because they have really fast disposable units that they can get to, which is basically get, behind enemy lines, deploy teleport homers. Right, like that's because that's something you can easily max out on if you have a way to create units in your opponent's backfield like Tyranids, or have really cheap units that you can let die, but can quickly get to the other side of the board, do their thing, you know?
Yeah. For myself, I took a completely different list. Well, not completely, but I took it. No, it was kind of completely. I took a completely different list than what I played against Tom last time. So one of the players at LSO was Russell. I forget Russell's last name.
Wilson.
I have to look it up.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Wilson.
It's a quarterback.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Former, actually, I believe at this point.
Probably. Tucson, I think his last name is. He's a Chaos Space Marine player that usually places very well at events, especially large events. But I was watching the game, and he actually played in the finals against Ben. Yeah, it's Russell Tassin. There we go. So I looked at his list, and basically I just net listed and copied his list exactly. And his list is Abaddon and a Chaos Lord in Terminator armor, and then one unit of 10 Terminators, one unit of 5 Terminators, one Forge Fiend, one unit of Cultists, 3 units of 2 Obliterators, all with Marcus Zinch, and a Land Raider, and 2 units of 3 Nurglings.
Adam, for the kids at home, what's the really, really nifty thing about a Chaos Land Raider?
Well, it's Chaos in general. If you give Chaos the Mark of Nurgle, there's a strat that says you play the strat on a unit when they are selected as a target. Not when they shoot, not when they whatever. It's just once they're selected, you play the strat. When you do that, they become -1 to hit. It doesn't matter what mark they have. They're just -1 to hit. If they happen to have the Mark of Nurgle, then in addition to being -1 to hit, they cannot be targeted by an attack, by a range attack, if the opponent is outside of 12 inches.
Huh.
And it's only 1 CP.
Huh.
So.
You got that
So
Land Raider, huh?
When I saw the list, I'm like, I'm gonna try it. I thought to myself, I'm gonna try it, but I don't know how it works yet. But when I put it on the table, and we're using player placed similar to what LSO used, so Tom places the first piece because he was defender, and I placed the next 2 pieces, and then we just go back and forth normally. And that's kind of to offset the advantage the defender has of placing the first piece, because people usually place something essentially in the middle of the table.
Yeah, which makes sense.
So, what I found out, or what is that if you place your pieces correctly, your terrain pieces correctly, and you place your units in the correct spots, and especially if your opponent does not have indirect, which Tom has 2 units of whirlwinds, your opponent will have nothing to shoot at on turn 1, which is basically what happened in the first turn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was able to shoot at the Obliterators, and
which was,
as Tom just mentioned, it was the wrong target.
Yep.
Because the Cultists have the sticky ability, or whatever it's called, but basically sticky objective. And what was the ability you have, Tom, where you pick an objective and you reroll ones?
It's that I get to reroll ones to wound if I'm within.
But is it Oath the Moment?
No, so it's the lone operative. I kill Tyrannid's combi lieutenant, and his thing is anybody he picks an objective. Anybody within 6 of him, when they shoot at that objective, gets reroll ones to wound. So it's a nice little supplement to I'm oathing that target, and now I'm shooting this target.
Yeah, and with cultists who are very soft and squishy, it's not hard to kill them all.
Yeah, and in fact, really, it's you got to get enough hits, and then, oh sweet, I got enough hits. Now let me just not roll ones.
Yeah, with a reroll. So Tom did not target the cultists again.
Nope.
and target the much tougher obliterators.
Well, because I had seen what they had done to my boys last game, and I was like, okay, he's got
Yes.
3 units of them now. I need
Well,
to
it's
see
only
if
two, not four, but still.
true, but I'm like, all right, I gotta try and pick these guys up off the board if I can, as fast as I can. Lo and
Yeah.
beholdest, they are much tougher than double whirlwinds can handle, especially without oath on them.
Yeah.
So that didn't work. But I mean, yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
the sticky what it allowed me to do, and you didn't bring your drop pods in on turn one,
Which I
which I
also
thought you were
should have
going to
done.
do,
I should have done that, and
because that allowed me to zone out my backfield with the
yeah,
cultists, with the still alive cultists, since they don't need to be on the objective anymore.
yeah.
Thank God.
Captain Hindsight came and told me about what I should have done, which was I should have used the whirlwinds to pick up the cultists, and then
Mhm.
dropped the stern guard behind your oblets since they were
Yeah.
infantry, and mortal wounded them to hell and back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is what I
That's
should have done.
basically it.
And that would have
Yep.
been great too, because now all of a sudden you are not holding your home objective. You have to dedicate a resource. In that case, it would have been your Forge Fiend to go do that. Meaning
Well,
it's
I would, yeah, because the ability that the cultists have applies in the command phase, and if he had killed them during his turn, I wouldn't have been able to sticky that objective.
exactly, which meant that for the rest of the game, I could actually pressure him off. But once he stickied it and I can't touch it, then what's the point?
Yeah, you can't land on it. Yeah,
Yeah,
because we played. It was,
it was
I
that
forget what the
stupid
primary
mission.
was. Oh, the
It,
one where you burn objectives,
yeah,
and drew the card where you get two. There's two secondaries. One of them increased the cost of the reroll and the get rid of a card to 2 CP.
I hate that one.
The other card made it so that you cannot land on an objective if you're coming in from deep strike.
Or
It
infiltrate
suited me
or
just
scout.
fine, or scout. Yeah, okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
So
you can't
basically,
get on the objective at all.
no deployment shenanigans of any kind allow you to end on an objective.
Yes. Which didn't matter to me too much because mine was shooty stuff.
It mattered to me because I had
It mattered to you.
I had drop pods and 2 units of Phobos.
Yes. And basically, the land raider lasted, I think, was 3 turns basically.
Yeah, I mean,
It lasted enough to drop off the Chaos Lord and 5 Terminators to wipe out a squad. Land Raider picked up a Pred.
yeah.
It was pretty bad.
I also exposed my Preds too quickly, which I should not have done. I had them well hidden and then
Yes,
brought them out for no really good reason, which to show how transparent I am about my because I have some brilliant moments in this game, but I mostly don't. And I was like, all right, well, he's bringing the Land Raider. I know about the Nurgle rule. All right, I got this. We do our setup. We deploy everything. And then I immediately, once it's my turn, proceed to forget that entirely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Blame it on my HDD, baby.
So the Land Raider wasn't too bad, especially with the Nurgle strat. The Abaddon with the Terminators, even though it comes out to like 700 points, almost 800 points, just in that essentially one unit.
That unit's so hard to pick up.
It can be, yeah. It depends what you pour into it. I mean, if you had you saw, well, no, it'd still be hard because they're 3 wounds each. And because of Abaddon, they have all the marks. So I could, if I want, once the Land Raider's dead, or if I don't need the Land Raider anymore, I can just Nurgle that Terminator squad, and you either -1 to hit, or you just can't shoot it at all from some of the stuff. So.
Dios mío.
Yeah, and again, the Obliterators with sustained hits with the Dark Pact just is either picking up or severely damaging units left and right. So
yeah. Plus they're with Abaddon, so they're getting full rerolls because that's the thing you're picking. Their combi weapons.
Yeah, because they all have 4+ invulnerable save already. So
yeah, they're combi weapons, so they're mortal wounding infantry on 4-up, so you're just picking up crap that way. It was
That was pretty.
it was what the
I
kids
just
call a
needed,
shitty
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah,
I actually had a lot of
yeah.
fun. I mean, I loved our I always enjoy our games no matter what happens, but
The
yeah.
the funny thing is, we always mention this because it always comes up. Is I went second against Tom,
Yep.
and as far as I can remember, I have never gone first against Tom.
There's two universal rules to our games. I always go first. That doesn't mean I always win. Sorry, John.
Obviously.
But just needed to quash
My
John's
narrative.
Yeah.
My narrative.
Thank you, Danny. But the other key thing that always happens in our games, at least in this edition, is there is always a moment where I roll 6 ones in a row.
No, you had it last edition too. Remember
Okay.
that one game where we counted?
No,
where we
not that
counted
you're
how many
wrong. It's
rerolls?
you had it 2 editions in a row.
Yeah. So far, you're on a 2 edition streak.
Yeah, and I never. I mean, it doesn't mean I'm not blaming my dice for my games. Like I have really great dice moments. I have bad dice moments. It's best of times, worst of times. But
Right.
like, my God, it always happens at some point in the game, beginning, middle, end, where it's just like, and there's 6 ones in a row. Like I rolled 4 ones, and then I'm rolling a save. Oh, that's a 1, and another one that's a 1, and then everything's back to normal.
Yeah, yeah. But there was like a couple rolls where you just rolled. It wasn't even like just 1-1. It was like you rolled. Oh, I'm rolling 6 dice, and I just rolled 5 ones.
Yeah, that actually happened on one of them. It was crazy.
Yeah, I think it was like a shooting attack or something. But
Yeah.
still,
Or like,
it's like okay.
I only need 3s, all 6s. I only need 4s, all 2s.
It seemed to only happen with your shooting.
Yeah.
Because your saves were actually pretty good.
I did have some
4 wounds,
legendaries.
5 ups. Okay, I rolled 3 5s.
I had a predator limping on a wound that should have died twice. It was amazing.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's what balances out. So, but I mean, even if you're alive and you can't hurt anything, that kind of.
Yeah. What good's
like, hey,
winning
may as
the
well be
lottery
dead.
if you can't spend it?
So yeah, so the list, so my list anyway, I don't think I would change anything right now. I think
I
I'd
like
play
your
a few
list.
more games. Like I said, it really hinges on whether I go first or second. I guess ideally I would go second.
I think in most,
especially if my opponent doesn't have indirect fire.
I think you want to go second more often than not.
Yeah.
The only time you probably wouldn't would be against towering.
Yeah, knights I would have to go. No, because the same thing applies. I could just hide and then not.
Oh, I guess that's true.
I would have to give up I'd have to give up turn 1 and wait for turn 2 for everything to drop. Drop into from deep strike.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully I get like the secondaries where I just need to hold my home objective or something, or I just throw Nurglings out there to like move block. Well, no, they don't really move block, but just kind of generally get in the way of the knights, especially the little knights. I can move block the little knights. So hopefully they can get in the way to move block, because remember they can infiltrate or deep strike.
Yeah.
And so knights don't have anything like that. So I could infiltrate the Nurglings to just kind of keep them on their side of the table until my turn 2 and my reserves arrive.
Yeah, the only thing I really saw value in with the Nurglings was they had a really great ability to pick up secondaries, because there's such a non-threat that it's really hard to be like, oh, I gotta kill them when everything else you're dealing with.
I think they're like, almost like the spore mines for Tyranids, where you put them into reserve. You could infiltrate them if you feel you need to, but you put them in reserve, and then they come in. They come in some weird corner where your opponent can like dedicate stuff to get them. But I mean, there's a Land Raider and Abaddon coming towards you, so I don't know what else you're going to shoot at.
I know.
And so they can just sit there, and if I pull engage on fronts, if I pull behind enemy lines, if I pull do an action in your opponent's deployment zone or something like that, and they can, even though they don't have guns, they can still do a shooting action.
or an
that's when
action
they can,
requiring them to not shoot, not shoot. Okay, I
yeah,
guess I'm not going
not
to shoot my
shoot genre.
nerdlings. Like,
Right. Well, GW clarified designer's commentary that if you don't have if you're not equipped with a gun, basically, you can still do a shooting action.
yeah, well, there you go.
You can still do an action that requires you to be eligible to shoot.
Yes.
So, but yeah. So they work in that regard. So, I mean, we'll see. Like I said, if I'm playing against an army that doesn't have indirect, like knights, I mean they do, but it's not very effective.
No.
Then I think the list, that's where the list really shines. I was worried about I was worried about the whirlwinds because there are two of them, and but luckily your poor target selection is really what saved the game for me.
I'm like
Damn.
the
Damn.
Arizona Cardinals. I often snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
I mean, it's the truth. I mean, I figured the cultists were gonna die, but when you that's why I asked you. I think I asked you, and then I told you afterwards. Like, you should just target the cultists. But like you said, I could have put the Forge Fiend on, but then you can just target the Forge Fiend with reroll 1 Zaboon. So, which might not be as good because it's toughness 10. But
Yeah, I mean the whirlwinds do. They can reliably, without assistance, handle infantry, unless it's
right,
really thick infantry like oblets.
right.
But when it
Or
comes
custodes.
or custodes, but when it's vehicles, or super heavy infantry, that's when they kind of need some
Yeah.
oathy goodness.
Right. Yeah. So like I said, I'd probably still use the same list for now. I don't see any need for any changes to it. So it worked so far against Space Marines. So we'll see how it does. I'm not in the league, so I don't get to play against other armies. And then Danny J talked to me about playing a game called In Country, which is a ultra modern historical game. So I may be playing that instead of 40K for the foreseeable future. So he's also painting my 15mm samurai. So
Not a bad deal.
there you go. Yeah. I don't think there's really anything else. I mean, Danny, you have anything? Is there anything else? No questions in the Patreon because I forgot to post in there. No questions in the chat that I can see. But we do have Hammer Wrath coming up not this weekend, but next weekend. So that should be interesting. We are giving away a golden ticket for that event. Our next episode will be just after Hammer Wrath, so hopefully John will be back. Danny, I believe, like he said, is taking World Eaters. Tom, you still taking Space Marines?
Yeah, I almost made the 80/80 jump to Tau. I was like this close, but
Why would you go from one one bad army to a worse army?
because first of all,
You have Custodes.
I also, yeah, but here's the reason why I'm not playing Custodes is the same reason why I decided not to switch to Tau.
So you
Is
don't want to win.
No, is because they're in a place that is not immediately convenient or accessible to set them up and put them in my army bag. So therefore, I'm just going to keep playing Space Marines.
All right.
It is purely out of stupidity and convenience that this is occurring. I've never claimed to be anything else.
Okay, sounds good. So we are like I said, we are getting ready for Hammerwrath, which is next week. Should be fun. Always fun. After that is SoCal Open, as we discussed earlier, and then LVO after that. Again, get your hotel rooms for LVO, and hopefully see you at either SoCal Open or even Hammerwrath. If you're coming to Hammerwrath, come say hi.
Yeah.
So, But I believe that is it for tonight. Also, don't remember our sponsors.
Yeah, don't remember
Gamology
them.
Games. Just go to gamologygames.com.
Whatever you do, do
Check out
not
their
remember
website.
our sponsors.
Also, don't forget Hammerhead Games. Go to hammerheadgames.net or check out the Shark Tank on Facebook. They also have a Discord that you can go to where they have a lot of announcements for their events and sales and all that other goodness. They just combined with another store, so the store is even bigger than before. And then also one of our newer sponsors is the Hobby Goblins, and they make props like las pistols, bolt guns, chainsaws. A lot of the trophies you see at the FLG events are made by and painted by them. So they also do have a painting service. So give them a contact. Tell them we sent you. Mainly just so they know we don't get any kickback or anything from that.
It's more for
but
bragging.
we do get a kickback from Frontline Gaming. So make sure you click on the affiliate links and order through those links because that gives a little bit of some from Frontline. And I believe also don't forget my game is still on pre-order, still being worked on, and should be out hopefully while I'm still alive. No promises.
There's actually now an equal amount of time between your game when it was made and when the historical period your game is about took place.
But in the meantime, to help put a little fire under the publishers, it'd be really helpful if you click on the link below and pre-order, whether it's the digital version or physical version. Just click on the link and that'll take you where you need to go. And we also have the Patreon. We do Patreon members get to contact us directly, and we offer polls like Danny just said about what armies to play at tournaments, questions for our episodes, and other such stuff. So
Shenanigans.
Just prizes when we get them.
Just look for TFG Radio on Patreon. Well, after this tournament, we may not have a lot of prizes to give out. Speaking of which, we also have we're getting closer to the annual haiku contest, which will begin in October. I already have a subject matter in mind. It is about John. So if you haven't already, start thinking about that. Once we have the prizes, we'll figure out we'll announce what those are. And that runs from October. We take entries from October to the end of the year, and then make the winner announcement the first episode of the new year, which would probably be like a week or two before LVL, the way the dates are. So again, make sure to check all that out. You can always check them out in the show notes or the description below. I believe that is it. Danny, you have anything for the fine peoples of the interwebs?
Play games, be nice to each other, and I'm going to go download Baldur's Gate 3 right now.
There you go. Tom, what have we got for...
I'm going to Baldur's Gate 3. I made the mistake of watching some gameplay live, and of course they have Matt Mercer doing it with the developer, and he is a entertainer above all things. And I just looked at this game and I was like, he literally just stacked 25 crates so he could jump on top of the crates and then use an arrow of teleportation to sneak into a bank. He could have done this any other way, but that's what he did, and it worked. And I was like, oh my god, this is like, I want to play this so bad. Well, if you don't have 600 hours to sink into that game, my final parting thoughts are play Dredge. It's a very fun, relaxing fishing game that also has Lovecraftian horror tension in it, in case you really ever truly can't let yourself relax.
Oh my god. All right, well, I am not downloading Baldur's Gate 3, mainly because I already have it.
You motherfucker.
I was in the beta or whatever like a year ago.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a happy jealousy swear at you. So congratulations.
That, or I just don't remember buying it or getting it. It's telling me it's already in my library, so I don't know what's going on.
Well, then I should get it so we can all play co-op. because it literally is every person can play in that game.
Yeah, I was just looking at my Steam library, and it's like Darktide, last played January, and I was like,
sad.
Damn dog, that's 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Like, oof, oof.
I'm looking at mine, and mine says Fallout 76. You played 1,000 hours. I was playing it before the show. Yep, I have Baldur's Gate 3.
So to this
Last played in October of 2020.
So you're part of the early. So yeah, you have to actually delete all that off your computer before if you want to play the games, you have to re-download it.
Well, I uninstalled it a long time ago.
Yeah.
So,
but more importantly, I don't have to buy it.
the last time I played Dota 2 was July 18th, 2015. Dota 2 is my highest logged gameplay time of 2,113 hours.
God damn, dude. You want to know what my highest logged in on Steam right now is? Darktide 2 at 70 hours. Or Darktide at 70 hours. That's it. I don't get to play on my computer much at all. So
I think.
So yeah. Big sad.
I think 76 is mine. Is my longest one at 1,000.
Dota 2 was my game that I played a lot to cope with depression I didn't know I clinically had for about 2.5 years.
Okay, there you go.
I think I put like.
Thanks for bringing us down.
I think. Did you say thanks for bringing us down?
Strong way to wind down. Good job.
Hey Tom, appreciate the vulnerability, but you're trashing my vibe, bro.
Seriously. No, but seriously, talk about your emotions. Get help if need be. It's okay.
No, we are.
Play Dota 2 apparently.
Well, hey.
Yeah, apparently, or just suppress them like I do, being a Gen Xer.
Yeah.
It's true. I wasn't taught this.
Or drink like I do.
Christ, this show.
You use the tools. You use the tools you have at your disposal.
If we're gonna go there, we might as well just go dark. It's fine. Anyway, good night, everybody.
Well, thank you everybody for listening. We'll see you in a couple weeks after Hammer Wrath, and hopefully John will be on. We'll see. I'll crunch the numbers. I'll post them on our Facebook page on what the current count is, and hopefully that'll spur John to actually show up on the show.
He might be speaking French,
everybody.
though.
Whatever. At least he's on. Good night, everybody.